Want to know if your Chinese skills are improving and what your real learning level is? Get your language skills assessed with our free level assessment test. Just click the link in the description and sign up for a free lifetime account to get assessed.
Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say, "Yes, it is"? 是的，是的。And how to say me? 我，我。Do you remember how to say and? 和，和。And how to say daughter? 女儿，女儿。Do you remember how to say son? 儿子，儿子。And how to say husband? 先生，先生。Do you remember how to say my husband? 我的先生，我的先生。Do you remember how to say this? 这，这。
Do you remember how Karen says, "Yes, it is. This is my husband, son, daughter, and me."
是的，这是我的先生、儿子、女儿和我。
是的，这是我的先生、儿子、女儿和我。Do you remember how to say family? 家人，家人。And how to say your family? 你的家人，你的家人。Do you remember how to say the question marking particle? 吗？吗？
And do you remember how the teacher asks, "Is this your family?"
这是你的家人吗？
这是你的家人吗？ Do you remember the formal word for wife? 太太，太太。Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say good morning? 早上好，早上好。
And how Mark says, "Miss Lee, good morning."
李老师，早上好。
李老师，早上好。Do you remember how to say hello? 你好，你好。
And do you remember how Karen says, "Hello, Miss Lee"?
你好，李老师。
你好，李老师。Do you remember how to say good evening? 晚上好，晚上好。
And do you remember how Ben Lee says, Good evening, Miss Lee.
晚上好，李老师。
晚上好，李老师。Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say, see you again? 再见。再见。And how to say, good night? 晚安。晚安。Do you remember how to say, bye bye? Bye bye. Bye bye. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say please? 请。请。And how to say wait? 等。等。
Do you remember how Ben says, please wait a minute?
请等一下。
请等一下。
And how the passenger says, what's the matter?
怎么了？
怎么了？
Do you remember how the passenger says, thank you?
谢谢你。
谢谢你。Do you remember how to say, don't mention it? 不客气。不客气。
Do you remember how the passenger says, sorry?
不好意思。
不好意思。
Do you remember how Ben says, it's okay?
没事儿。
没事儿。
Let's review the key words and phrases.
您、
You. Formal.
您、您。一般般、
So-so.
一般般、一般般。
Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say you? 你。你。And how to say good? 好。好。
Do you remember how Mark Lee asks, how are you?
你好吗？
你好吗？ Do you remember how to say I? 我。我。
And how Wei Wang says, I'm good.
我很好。
我很好。Do you remember how to say and you? 你呢？你呢？ and the formal way to say you. 您 您 Do you remember the formal way to ask, how are you? 您好吗? 您好吗? And how to say so-so. 一般般一般般
Now, here's what you can do to cement this conversation in your head. Review the conversation with our dialogue tool and lesson transcripts. Study the key words and phrases with our spaced repetition flashcards. Review the key grammar and cultural tips inside the lesson notes. And test yourself with our assessment tests. So click the link in the description right now and sign up for your free lifetime account to access our Can Do course.